Hey everybody, I have been going through a lot of procrastination. I imagine you might be suffering from some of the same things. When I was asked to do this video on surviving through the stress of a pandemic, I was eager to do so, but then I found that I was procrastinating day after day. I have learned that when I'm procrastinating, it is time for me to get curious with myself and not be judgmental with myself. And so as I turned my mind towards curiosity, I realized that I struggled to think I had anything to offer that would be helpful. I also struggled with talking about this so directly because it just serves as confirmation for something I'd really rather deny exists. And so when I think about what I would say to clients, I realized that denial is never helpful, and that naming things for what they are is really, really important. And to realize that I do have something to offer. I'm not alone. I'm not the only person who has something to offer. Probably all of us have something to offer. But I was asked and I agreed. And I need to put aside the feeling that, what do I have? And just give what I know I have. So one thing I would offer is that if you are going through stress responses to living in a pandemic, be gentle with yourself, be kind, be compassionate, and be curious. Do not judge yourself and do not accept the judgment of others. Anything that any of us are doing to try to stay safe in the midst of unprecedented times, in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of crazy making world circumstances, should not be met with judgment. If we're doing something to feel safe, that's all that matters. No judgment, no self-judgment, no judgment of others. Another thing that I thought about is how important preserving some sense of routine and normalcy is. You think probably, how on earth am I supposed to have any routine or any sense of normal in the midst of a pandemic? How crazy are you, Sally? Well, when we are going through massive transition, our brains are working overtime and we can reach a point of mental and emotional fatigue much quicker. And one of the ways to slow down the fatigue point is to reduce the amount of transition that we are encountering. And so if you're stuck working from home, bring some things from your office to put around you to make your home space feel as close to your office space as possible. And as silly as this may sound, maybe even get in your car, drive to your office and drive back home, because that's what you normally do. And it's one less adjustment. Doing things that preserve your schedule and routine. If you have a normal wake-up time, try to keep that. If you have a normal bedtime, try to keep that. If you have normal things you do, such as the time of day you eat, the time of day you complete certain types of tasks, keep that. Keep as much of that as possible. It's especially difficult, I'm sure, when you have small children around and you don't get any of that solitary time that you might get in an office space, and children are not patient people and don't understand the concept of not interrupting. I'm past those days, but I remember them, and boy, would the interruptions throw me off track. And there is another place for you to use compassion, empathy, and curiosity rather than judgment. So don't judge yourself, don't judge your children. Everybody's going through difficult, changing times. Another thing to not change, if you normally dress for work a certain way, continue to dress that way when you're working from home. It is one less thing for your brain to register as transition. If you do change some things, make sure that the things you change either are unavoidable, which is obvious, you're going to have to change certain things, but the things you electively choose to do them only because they serve you well in terms of your mental, emotional, physical, and relational health. So for some people, the exhaustion of living in a pandemic makes you more tired and more sleep is required. So if you need to go to bed early or sleep a little later and you have the luxury of doing that, that's an okay thing to change in your routine. Just don't make changes that are from a place of discouragement and despair and giving up and conceding to what is happening in our world. Make changes because they serve you well. And when I say serve you well, it means it's helpful, it's constructive, it's healing, it's forward focused, it feels like momentum. So I hope these ideas are helpful. I think I will post more short videos as we go along through this. In the meantime, stay well. Cover your face when you can to protect others, if not yourself. Wash your hands. Keep your hearts open and warm, full of love and curiosity and empathy.